Hey there, YouTube. Me and my buddy played a game of Killteam. I played the Vottan Salvagers, and he played the Navy Breachers. We played this over on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/smallnardo. Go and check it out, maybe. And this is how the game went. So today, we are playing the Secure Archaeotech mission. That is mission 3.1 in the first Killteam mission thing. It's very early on. And what it means is there are 6 objectives strewn across the field, where you can see them there. And our operatives can perform an action for one of their action points to unplug this objective, and that will earn 1 victory point. Then they can spend another action to put that objective in their pocket, and if you end the game with an objective in your pocket, that is worth 2 more victory points. So we want to go unplug them and put them in our pockets. That's going to be the main objective. And after picking our secondaries, which will be revealed throughout the game, which is how it works in Killteam, we have each chosen 3 secret secondary objectives that we will reveal. They are the TAC Ops. They will be revealed throughout the game. That's great. We have deployed all of our boys, and we're ready to start going into turn 1. In the first strategic phase, the Navy Breachers player places a defense token around some of his guys to give them a better defensive ability. Goes to the Vottan Salvagers. They place, using the ability of the Cognitar, placing a attack token near some other guys so that they are more easily attacked. And then also, because the Vottan Salvagers are Vottan, they like to place a little judgment token on this boy right here, and that means any normal hit that gets hit on him can be upgraded to a critical hit. Now on to the first activation of the game. The Vottan player has foolishly used the scouting phase to leave exposed their jump pack warrior out in the open, as you can see right there in front of that garbage can, and the first activation goes to the Navy Breachers, and they are activating their las volley gun, and he is going to unload a devastating amount of laser weaponry onto that guy, killing him instantly, vaporizing any ideas he had of sprinting over and dropping a grenade onto all those guys that had the attack token labeled on them earlier. After some shimmying around by the Vottan player, it goes back to the Navy Breachers, and using the ability of the Navy Surveyor to increase the group activation of him and another compatriot to 2, meaning that they could activate both at the same time in this one activation, the Plasma Gunner and the Navy Surveyor both unload full volleys into the Dozer on the Vottan Salvagers team, and the Dozer barely manages to hold on by the edge of his teeth with 2 out of his 8 health remaining. The Vottan Salvagers player decides that it's probably a good idea to shoot at the enemy, so a missile gets launched by the Vottan gunner from his L7 missile launcher into the Navy Void Jammer on the other team, leaving him on just 1 wound, not quite finishing him off. For the remainder of the turning point, not a single other shot was fired, no secondary actions were performed, most of the moves were shimmying around, moving into position, and setting up for the next turn, both the Vottan Salvagers player moving up into cover, and the Navy Breachers player moving up and around into different cover. The shield moving up on the side, the Vottan going straight up the middle, loads of things just moving around in different places and getting into position, getting ready for turning point 2. The Vottan player opens up turning point number 2 by shooting off his Cognitar into the Plasma Gunner on the Navy Breachers side for absolutely 0 damage, completely wasting this first activation. And in response, the las volley gun gets activated on the Navy Breachers side, absolutely ruining the Grenadiers, the Vottan Salvager Grenadier, leaving him only on a single health. The Vottan gunner with the plasma beam weapon hops down from his perch, lines up a beam shot through the shielded Navy Breacher, hitting him and the Axe Navy Breacher, inflicting 10 wounds to the shield one, leaving him on 1, and another 4 mortal wounds onto the guy behind him, so quite severely hampering that side of the table. The Navy Surveyor uses his ability to activate in tandem with the Plasma Gunner. The Navy Surveyor then proceeds to shoot the last wound off of the Vottan Salvagers Grenadier, and the Plasma Gunner manages to take 5 whole wounds off of the Locatar that's over there on top of the building right here. So, wounding, but not killing. Still, devastating moves. The Vottan Salvagers Gunner manages to shoot a missile right at the Endurant to try to take the last wound off of him, and manages to not deal any damage to him. However, the explosion does manage to kill the Axeman standing right behind him, so there's that. A lot more ineffectual fire is exchanged across both sides, a little bit of movement here and there tactically happens, and then the Thane attempts to make a jump from one crate to the other. However, he stumbles and looks at the jump, kinda hesitates, and doesn't want to perform it at all, fails the jump test, and just sits there and unplugs the objective he's currently standing on, and ends his turn there. The Navy Breacher's Endurant moves up a little bit, not as quick as he can because of his injured status, shoots his pistol into the gunner that shot him with the beam weapon earlier, and takes off 6 wounds out of that gunner's 8. Devastating. In an astounding play of playing the objective, this armsman unplugs the objective and then with his second action puts it in his pocket, hopefully securing lots of victory points for the Navy Breachers. A shot of Overwatch gets to take place on the Vottan Salvagers side, being that the Navy Breachers still have models to activate while the Vottan Salvagers have activated all of their models. So the Magna Railgun here takes a shot at the Grenadier on the Navy Breachers team, wounding him severely. After one miner move forward with the last Navy Breachers activation, we go on to Turning Point 3. Turn 3 opens up with a huge gunfire by the Vottan Salvagers, using the Etakan Plasma Beamer, the injured one, to shoot at the Sergeant, catching the Endurant also in the beam of that beam weapon's attack, killing both with the single activation, absolutely devastating the Navy Breachers in this opening salvo. Not to be showed up by the Vottan Salvagers, the Navy Breacher Surveyor activates, using a relay from the Cat Operative, gives an extra APL to the Grenadier, and then shoots a shot at the Cognitar on the roof across the map, killing the Cognitar. But not only that, he also increases his group activation with his Plasma Buddy to then activate the Plasma Gunner. The Plasma Gunner then proceeds to move into a position where he can line up a shot against the Magna Rail Rifle on the Vottan Salvagers team way across the map, and doming him with an amazing roll, killing him instantly. The Navy Breachers are still in this fight, by no means are they out. Trying to regain some tempo, the Vottan missile launcher fires a high explosive shot into the Cat Operative on the Navy Breachers team, trying to catch the injured Grenadier in the explosion as well, and although they do catch him in the explosion, it does no damage to him. However, it does destroy the Cat Operative. Now, after surviving a Magna Rail shot and dodging the explosion from the missile launcher, using the extra APL given to him by the relay earlier, the Navy Breachers Grenadier runs and sprints up the stairs, comes right next to the Vottan Salvagers Thane, hucks a satchel of C4 at him, and manages to deal 4 damage and not kill him. Moving on, the Vottan Salvagers Dozer sprints around the corner and charges into the Navis Hatch Cutter, who has a chain fist, and they engage in brutal melee combat. The Vottan Salvagers Dozer manages to just take it, but he is left on 1 wound remaining after the bloody fight. The Lesvali sees the injured gunner going for the objective and decides to shoot him down like a dog in the dark, killing him instantly. The Vottan Salvagers medic moves up and heals the Dozer 3 whole wounds, and then the Skullgeist on the Navy Breachers team uses its ability to move to a point where it can see, placing it right next to the medic and the Dozer. The Kindlink then proceeds to shoot the Navy Breacher's Grenadier, who is exposed, killing him and putting an end to his long-suffering story. To avenge his fallen comrade who dropped an objective marker where he died, the Voidsman Jammer pushes and detonates the explosion button, detonating the Geist, killing the dozer and injuring the medic. Following this, the Thane bravely picks up the objective and then hops down and hides behind a shipping container. And after the Navy Breachers secure their own objective by putting it into one of their pockets and hopping down their own shipping container, we move on swiftly to Turning Point number 4. Kicking off Turning Point 4, the Vottan Salvagers once again take the initiative and the Kinlink activates first, calling out the volley gun on the Navy Breachers team and telling him he must activate last using its ability, and then the Kinlink hops down and moves forward towards the objective. The Navy Breachers don't take the stern talking to that the Kinlink gave him too well, and the Plasma Gunner activates, shooting the medic who was already injured by the explosion, killing him. The Vottan Salvager Gunner positions himself in a manner so that he can line up a jump to be able to get to the objective next turn, as the game is ending soon on Turning Point 5. However, the Navy Breachers operative also has similar ideas and positions himself on top of that objective as well. The Vottan Salvager's Thane, however, hates the idea of contested objectives, so he takes his pistol and puts one right between the eyes of that injured Navy Breacher, killing him before he can contest that objective well. The Navy Breacher Surveyor then realizes the objective is quite important and hops down and starts making his way towards that objective under the stairs there. And the last to activate is the Navy Breacher's volley gun, letting loose shots into the injured gunner who is making his way towards that objective that could be game deciding. He shoots as many as he can, and through a combination of stratagems and rerolls, the gunner manages to survive, only taking 3 points of damage. And with that, that is the end of Turning Point 4, and we move on to the last Turning Point, Turning Point 5. Activating first, once again, are the Vottan Salvagers. They just cannot fail an initiative roll. And we start with the Kinlink, who activates, sprints out of the line of sight of the Las volley gun, and puts the objective in his pocket, securing 2 victory points for the Vottan Salvagers. The Navis Surveyor does his Navy Breachers proud, runs up to the objective, unplugs it for a whole victory point, not quite managing to put it into his pocket though, because that would be an extra AP. He only has 2. Moving on to the Vottan Salvagers, this gunner now must make this jump in order to successfully be able to put that objective in his pocket to secure another 2 victory points. Without it, the Vottan are absolutely going to lose, and they have already failed 1 jump this game. And can he do it? And he just manages to make the jump and put the thing in his pocket. What a fantastic move by his part. However, this celebration is short-lived. The volley gunner jumps off of his perch to line up a shot and unloads his volley gun into the gunner that just made that jump on the Vottan Salvager side, killing him and making him drop the objective token back down where it basically was already. However, that is not the end of the tale for the Vottan Gunner, and I will leave you with myself to explain to you the stratagem that is about to happen. I'm gonna spend my last CP. Use this tactical ploy when a friendly Hearthkin Salvager operative is incapacitated. Check.
Did he end on 1 wound?
It can immediately perform a free mission action before it is removed from the kill zone. He's gonna perform the mission action on Vantage and get me 1 VP because he is on a Vantage point. That's not in my
What the hell's
deployment.
the mission action Vantage?
It's this thing. It's the thing I revealed on like the 2nd turn.
Oh, a secondary mission action. Okay,
yeah.
Go for it.
Boom, that's 1 VP. And that is the final interaction of the entire game. Now we total up points. The Vottan Salvagers gain 1 point for their secondary objective of Vantage, they gain 1 victory point for unplugging one of the objectives, and they gain 4 victory points for holding 2 objectives in their pockets at the end of the game. The Navy Breachers gain 1 victory point for having their flag man get as far as he did as a secondary. They gain 1 victory point for hold the line. They gain 3 victory points for unplugging a number of objectives, and they gain 2 more victory points for holding one in one of their pockets at the end of the game. So that is going to be a Navy Breachers victory, 7-6 over the Vottan Salvagers. What a fantastic game. And I'd like to thank all of you for watching. If you like this kind of video, it was kind of experimental. I don't know if you guys are like this kind of content or whatever. Please make sure to let me know. See if it's like, yay, we like the Kill Team, the Warhammer, or boo, no, it stinks. Do something else. Like, let me know, that kind of thing. Go over to the Twitch, where I am playing Pokemon and probably playing some more Killteam with some lads. Thank you, my good buddy, for having this game with me, and it was a good old game. Yes, it was. Alright, you guys, like and subscribe, hit that little bell or whatever. All those good things if you want to keep noticed and noticeful of these kinds of things. That's all I got for you today. Bye-bye. Oh, you know, it'd be like a really big move, big Chad play if you guys went over to twitch.tv/smallnardo and dropped a follow. That'd be pretty based and Navy Breacher pilled. Or, yeah, that's a good one. Bye-bye.